So any suggestions that you can give me to get the best out of this camera would be very, very much appreciated. How we all doing? It's new camera day. Fuji X-T1. So before we get into that, I'm Ed, and this is my contrails. This is just a totally indulgent YouTube channel from me. A couple of motoring automotive channels, both electric and conventional cars. But this is just a passion. I got into YouTube through a love of kind of cameras and cinematography and things like that. Anyway, the X-T1 came about because I was looking for a replacement for my current kind of daily shooter. This is the 24.3 megapixel APS-C Sony NEX-7. Old but gold. It's a great little thing. I'm shooting all of this on a Sony ZV-1, the Mark I edition, and that's kind of what I use for all of my kind of content. It's small, it's lightweight, it goes everywhere. I can stick it to the screen of a car, I can stick it to the side of a car, get some content out of it. I don't need to worry too much about it. However, what I love about the NEX-7 is all the dials and everything that I can change these. Now, all in, this little project cost me £507. It breaks down into the body, which was £275 off eBay. That included the 18 to 55 kit lens. Then I went and bought the 16 to 50, which is actually on the camera here at the moment. And I kind of like it with the 1.5 crop factor on these APS-Cs. The kind of 16 kind of suits me. It's kind of 24mm from the full frame equivalent. I like the flexibility. I actually like the flexibility of the zoom as well. Rather than using my feet, I can frame it using the zoom the lazy way. Anyway, on top of that, I bought a 16mm prime lens. Now, I know these get slated a little bit, but you add into that the kind of wide angle expander and you get a true 16mm. This literally goes on to there and it turns it into a kind of a proper wide angle. This is all the flexibility that I got. Now I wanted to get into a little bit of manual shooting, so a couple of TT Artisan lenses. I'm going to cover this all in later videos. We've got the 25 f2, we've got the 35mm f1.4, all great value. So everything you see Sony wise cost me £574.99. The 35mm f1.4 cost me £100, and the 25 f2 cost me £46. So another £150 on top of that. So why did I decide to go Fuji, being a kind of a Sony shooter currently? Well, I've been following all the hype regarding the X100V, how they've been selling for overs, and I kind of thought, what is all this fuss? And then you hear about film simulations and things like that. My background in photography dates all the way back to the 1980s. I was shooting on film at the time with a Russian-made Zenit 12 XP, and it turns out it had the iconic Helios 44 250mm, and that got me hooked with that kind of swirly bouquet that they have. I didn't know it then, but it's one of those iconic little things. I love the simplicity of dials. I love the simplicity of knowing what your camera's doing, depth of field, aperture priority, and actually shooting manual lenses. So sometimes it's good to have the automatic stuff as per this Sony doing the old video stuff. But it's also nice to get into something new. So I got this Fuji X-T1 off eBay for the princely sum of £260. That was body only. I'm going to open it up and show you exactly what I got. So for 260 quid, I got it boxed. That's always nice to see. I got the manuals, I got a CD, I got a strap, never been used. I got the clips and the little clips in, well, the thing for putting them on. The flash, it wasn't advertised with the flash, but I got that. We got the body of the X-T1. And what I love about this is the simplicity of it all. You've got your exposure comp, you've got all your dials, you've got your autofocus control on the front, and you've got all the various little bits and pieces. So I love the way there is the choice of exposure metering in there. I love the way that you set your shooting, continuous, etc. on the top here. Compared to the 24 megapixels of the Sony, this is down to about 16 megapixels, but old is gold, as they say. And what I really wanted to try was the film simulations, straight into JPEG. I really don't want to be out and about kind of playing with raw images, not for this one and not for the sort of stuff that I want to do. I'm a commercial airline pilot as a career, and that takes me all over the world. So what I want is a little hip shooter, something to put things together, and something that's going to be enjoyable, but furthermore take me back to the days, the 1980s, when I was shooting film. That's what this feels like. I love the design, the white on black. Add it into some of the TT Artisan lenses, of which I have the one for it, and it should be lovely. So I'm going to break it down as to exactly what else I got. The body was £260. We know we got the flash, the strap, all the rest of it. But I did not have a lens. I did not have a lens. The kit says it was 18 to 55, but the previous seller obviously kept that. Now, big surprise to me coming from Sony is the Fuji glass. It seems incredibly expensive, I have to say. Even the kit lenses, I was really surprised at that. So that's the first lesson to learn about going to Fuji. Whilst the cameras may be on a par, the glass, the lenses certainly are not. So what I decided to do, rather than go 18 to 55, because I had the 16 mil on the Sony, I really wanted to kind of replicate that. So for the princely sum of £130, I got the 15 to 45. Okay, it's not a particularly fast lens, but you know what, for my purposes, the kind of daylight shooting that I'm going to be out and about down route, I also didn't want a camera hanging around my neck in the likes of Rio de Janeiro or Sao Paulo or whatever it happens to be. But if it gets nicked, it gets nicked. It's not the end of the world. It's not £2 worth of X-T5 or whatever it happens to be. £130 and the X-T1. That put it to about £390 all in. I mean, that's not bad really for a nice little system. I have a single battery in here. I want to be out shooting all day. So what I did buy is the little vertical grip for it as well. One extra battery in here, and hopefully I can kind of shoot all day. Don't know whether it's too bulky to use day in, day out, or whether, you know, I'll end up just carrying a spare battery in my pocket. And to that end, one battery came with the camera. I got an extra two and a charger. It was £21 and 23 pence. The battery grip was £40, and I loved the two TT Artisan lenses for the Sony. So just as a bit of indulgence, I got the TT Artisan at 25mm f2, exactly the same as I've got for the Sony. They're not interchangeable, and you can't get any adapters because the lens offset or whatever it is virtually identical to these. The shim would only be a fraction of a millimeter kind of to get these to infinity. So that cost me again another £69. But you know what? It's well made, it's heavy, and I'm going to put it on here just to have the overall kind of classic look. So just look at that. That overall classic look. You'd think that TT Artisan actually took the same script from the top of the dials here. And look at that for a little classic shooter. You'd almost think it was a film camera. I've yet to get out and use this. I'm going to do another series of kind of one body, one lens, one location, where I go out and about. I'm going to restrict myself to one lens wherever I go. I'm going to restrict myself to the one body and just carry a couple of spare batteries in my pocket. And that's where it's going to be when I'm down route, out and about. So you know what? There's an opportunity. Hit the subscribe button and see what I get up to. Just having fun. I am an avid black and white shooter. In fact, irrespective of what I do with the raw images, I really, really like to have the viewfinder and the JPEGs that are kept generated, even in the Sony, in black and white. I can see shade, you take away the color, and you see exactly what the composition is, and that's kind of what I like. I'm a big fan of Alan Scheller's work, and obviously those that went before him as well, the black and white shooter. So you'll see a lot of monochrome on this particular channel, and that's why I'm interested to get into some of the recipes. Okay, the X-Trans 2 doesn't have the sort of flexibility and recipes that the later kind of sensors have, but there's enough of adjustment, I'm sure. If you're anything like me, you'll have watched all the videos before making the choice. I thought about going to XE4, but it wasn't weather sealed. I thought of obviously X-T2 for the increased autofocus, X-T3s and 4s, but you're really, really starting to get up the budget a little bit. And you know what? I'm all about getting a good deal, and much is enough. There are people out there chasing megapixels just for the sake of it. The only difference is the file size is getting bigger, and you've got to process it, you've got to store it. You know what? Megabytes become terabytes very, very quickly, especially if you're shooting 4K video, which I'm not, by the way. I only shoot 1080p. There's no need for this kind of media and YouTube. In fact, YouTube are pretty good at actually rendering some of the images and photographs better than other platforms. You know what? Instagram and everything else, they just ruin the image quality. So that's where I'm coming from. It's just a little hello. It's all about budget. It's all about good value. And it's all about getting something out of it. As Ansel Adams said, the single most important component of a camera is the 12 inches behind it. So on that note, I'm going to take this combo out into Oxford, where I live kind of locally, shoot a bit of manual, just turn the camera on and leave it obviously full auto. I'm going to just obviously set the aperture, some manual focusing with obviously the focus assist on in here. I'm going to hopefully be a nice day tomorrow. I'm going to take that into town and just get a feel. The only way to really get to know a camera is just to go and use it. You know what? The first 1,000 shots out of this are probably going to be pretty unusable, but we might get one or two. We might get a few interesting compositions, and we will see what happens. So that's what I'm going to do with that. After that, I'm down into Venice. 19 hours in Venice down route, and I will probably just pop the other lens on and see what the auto thing is. I'm going to have a little look at some of the kind of film emulations. Right now it's going to stay an absolute standard, and we'll build it up gradually. If you want to join me on the journey, hit the old subscribe button. I'm not chasing views, I'm not chasing subscribers on this, but you know what? This is an interactive channel. If you've got any suggestions for the X-T1, I am brand new to the Fuji system. I'm still trying to find my way around the menus. I'm trying to find the operations. I'm trying to find things at my fingertips. So any suggestions that you can give me to get the best out of this camera would be very, very much appreciated. And we'll take the journey together. The tagline on one of my automotive channels is "It's all about the journey." And you know what? The same can be said for this. So on that note, thanks for watching this little one. All the best now. Bye-bye.